Hello everyone, welcome to the next class. So in this class, we're going to start a new module. We're going to start working with Oracle on Linux, all right? So you clearly see that everything we've meticulously done in terms of executing commands within SQL Plus and also within Arman using the comprehensive SQL developer tool, you will indeed perform precisely the same operations, utilizing the very same commands and continuing to use SQL Developer. All of this will involve accessing the Oracle database, which will be securely installed on Linux, which is certainly the primary environment, the operating system most widely used by Oracle in corporations, without a doubt. Okay? However, I genuinely believed it was quite interesting and indeed very important to thoroughly demonstrate to you the complete installation process of Oracle within a Windows operating environment. This is primarily because many of you, understandably, may not yet possess extensive experience with Linux systems. So I thought it would be easier for us to start this journey by showing you how to install and work within Windows, because I believe that could make your learning process easier. But you'll see that, yes, the commands you'll run are the same, okay? So my plan is, in this module, we're gonna see how to install Oracle on Linux. First, we're going to install a version of Linux on a virtual machine. We're going to create a virtual machine in VirtualBox. We'll install a Linux distribution, right? A Linux distro called Oracle Linux, okay? Which is Oracle's own version of Linux. There's nothing more natural than installing Oracle on Oracle Linux. So Oracle, it has a list of some Linux distributions that are certified by Oracle. Oracle Linux itself is a Linux distribution that belongs to Oracle. Oracle developed it. Based on previous distributions, Oracle created its own Linux to run Oracle database. And naturally, this distribution is certified by Oracle, okay? And it's probably the best distribution to run the Oracle database. There are others. The most famous one is the Red Hat distribution, okay? So in the course, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna learn how to install the Oracle Linux distribution, right? We're gonna run this inside a virtual box, right? Oracle's own virtualization software, okay? These will actually make things easier for you, because if you downloaded the version, if I went with the Red Hat version here, you would only have 1 month, right, to do your tests with the Red Hat distribution, okay? Because this version is released by Red Hat for you to do your tests for only 1 month, all right? So that's precisely why from this moment forward, we will be conducting all of our comprehensive training sessions utilizing the robust Oracle Linux version, all right? So there is a brief introductory text that I have placed there for your reference, but it serves purely as an initial foundational introduction to the subject matter. Later, if you want, you can do some research on the internet about which Linux distributions are currently certified by Oracle. But at the moment, we have Oracle's own distribution, Oracle Linux, and we have Red Hat, okay? SUSE Linux, which are certified by Oracle. Currently, for example, Ubuntu is not certified by Oracle to run, for instance, Oracle database on Ubuntu Linux. And Ubuntu Linux is one of the most widely used distributions. I think that Ubuntu is actually the most widely used Linux distribution, all right? But unfortunately, it's still not certified by Oracle, at least in my searches, right? It hasn't been certified yet. So it's kind of risky for us to install in an environment that hasn't been certified by Oracle database yet. All right. So I've included the steps here in this document, which will be attached to this video lesson so you can download Oracle Linux. So for example, I took this text here from Oracle's own website, right? From that link, I shared above, which is quite interesting, right? It's absolutely free to download, okay? So for the purposes of our in-depth training session here, we are going to proceed with the download, and you will then be able to carefully follow along with the full training curriculum starting from this specific version. If you want to download the latest version, the ISO, right, which is the installer for the latest version of Oracle, I've included this link here. And then you will be able to successfully download the very latest version of the software. All right? If you scroll down the page a little, you'll see the latest version that's available, right? Which is the full ISO version 9.4. It might be that by the time you take this course, this version has already been updated, okay? But in that case, you can update and download the most current link. I'm also providing the link to the official documentation for installation and prerequisites. So make sure to read through the prerequisites, check your machine's memory and the disk space required for installing Oracle, okay? So take a look at that. We're going to set up my VM and then make sure to set yours up with at least a minimum amount of physical memory from your notebook or desktop to run the virtual machine that will have Linux and later Oracle. All right. The more physical memory you have, the better it'll run faster. And I'm also providing a more direct link here, which I've already uploaded to my workspace, the one my students use, so you can download it. So if you copy this link, I've already made it available in my download area for you to get the installer. All right. This screen will open up this one right here. Then all you need to do is click here, look on save. When you click save, you'll see a notification up here indicating that a download is being made to your computer's downloads folder. Okay. The installer download will be about 11 gigabytes. So it might take a while depending on the size, that is the speed of your internet connection. So it'll be here, look in the downloads folder. If your Windows is in English, it will say download. And here will be your file, which will be downloaded at around 11 gigabytes, okay? If it downloads less than that, there might have been a problem, but you can restart the download from where it left off, okay? All right? At the end, when it finishes downloading everything, it will ask you for some kind of confirmation, whether you want to save it or not, okay? Here I'm going to take a little break, but you can also pause this download if you want. I'm going to stop the process here because I've already downloaded it so it doesn't get too heavy here. All right? So let me just take a moment to go back to this point here so we can properly review it. So the very first and most important thing that we are going to proceed with doing right now, and I will indeed be pausing the current lesson at this specific juncture, okay? But the first thing we're going to do is, after you've downloaded your ISO, we're going to create a new virtual machine, okay? A VM. I think I'll just keep going here. I won't pause. Let's move on. You're going to create a new virtual machine in your Oracle, in your virtualization software, okay? Here I have 3 machines created, 3 virtual machines. So it's actually a good idea for you to update your VirtualBox. So I'll leave the link there. You can update your VirtualBox if you want. I've also left here in this link the version I'm using to teach this module, the version of VirtualBox, which you can also download directly and then update your VirtualBox. Okay, so it will be downloaded to your downloads folder. All right, so here we're gonna create a new VM. I'm just gonna remove my image to make this video smaller, okay? So let's create a new machine. You can give any name you want to the new virtual machine, but I'm gonna use this name. So how do we create a new machine that's going to run Linux? I'm gonna have to download it to show you anyway, because when I go to point to the setup, I don't have it here in my area anymore. Let me see if I still have it or if I deleted it. No, I have it here. Look, I don't need to stop the lesson, no. So here in my clipboard, I left the setup, okay? The ISO file is right here, see? So look, it needs to have this size here. When you download the version I left in my link, the size of your file, your ISO, needs to be this size, okay? So if it doesn't match, restart your download. In the end, when you finish downloading, the file name needs to have the .iso extension. All right, so I'll leave it here in my clipboard. I'm going to start creating my virtual machine. Okay, so here I'm going to click on the new button. Here in the virtual machine name, I'm going to enter this name. That actually I even need to change the name because I already have a machine created, another machine with the same name. So here I'll put 99. Okay, here in folder, you can leave the path that VirtualBox is suggesting, or you can click on other and select a different location where it will create your virtual machine. Okay, don't click anything here on the ISO. Don't select the ISO at this point. It will leave Linux and the specific version displayed here. If it doesn't appear as expected, then here in the type field, you will need to carefully select Linux and then choose the Oracle Linux 64-bit option. Okay? All right. Then you'll simply click the next button. On this next screen, you'll set the amount of physical memory your virtual machine will use from your computer. So here, set at least 4 gigabytes. But I'm going to put more here because my machine has 16 gigabytes of RAM. So here, set at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. And here, the number of CPUs that your virtual machine, the one you're creating, will use from your computer. So here, I'm going to set it to 7 CPUs, okay? Click Next. Here, I will meticulously set the precise amount of dedicated disk space that my virtual machine will effectively utilize and consume from the available storage capacity of my physical computer system. I'm going to leave it at 80 gigabytes. You should also leave it at 80 gigabytes, okay? At first, this machine won't use all 80 gigabytes right away. It will use space as it needs it. All right? If you check this option, it would pre-allocate all that space on your disk, but don't check this option, okay? Let's leave it like this. Use 80 gigabytes of your disk, which would be necessary later for our exercises to install Oracle database, all right? So click here on Next and then Finish. Okay, before we move on to start creating this physical machine, let's make some changes here. Just a few changes to this virtual machine. First, you click on your virtual machine, then go to Settings, then to Network, and change it to bridged adapter. All right. With this, the virtual machine will be inside your home network. It will use your home's modem, okay? Your home's router, right? As the primary gateway, your virtual machine will be running and operating as if it were a completely real physical machine, okay? This ensures full functionality and seamless integration within the virtualized environment. A physical machine inside your house. So in your house, you have the modem. This modem, which came from the provider, acts as a router, also provides DHCP service, and works as a DNS server. Okay? What is the purpose of DHCP, for example? It's a service that's running inside your modem. It assigns unique IP numbers, for example, to anyone who comes to your house, accesses, and connects to your Wi-Fi, for instance. So every time someone comes to your house and you give them, for example, your router's password, you need to be careful with that. At that moment, this service called DHCP, which runs inside your modem corporations or companies, it's usually handled by separate servers. But at home, your modem acts as the router, DHCP, and DNS server. So when someone comes into your house, your modem will be running this DHCP service, which will generate a unique IP for anyone entering your home. Okay? So they can access the internet through your modem. Then they will receive this IP, right? When we set up a virtual machine, this virtual machine doesn't have a physical network card. The server you're creating now, which is a virtual machine, doesn't have a physical card to access a network. It also has a virtual network card, all managed by software, which exists inside your virtual machine. So when we change this adapter here from the default NAT mode to bridge mode, which in English means, well, in Portuguese it means ponte, bridge, right? You're saying that this virtual machine will run within this network, right? And there will be a virtual network card, a crucial component inside this virtual machine, and it will operate just as if it were a physical machine, seamlessly connected to your existing network infrastructure, directly connected to your home setup, and ultimately connected to your primary router, providing full network access, right? So it's important for you to make this configuration. Besides this configuration, this changelet, let me see if there's anything else here. Look, here in system, you're going to disable this floppy disk option for this virtual machine to boot from the floppy disk, because there is no floppy disk, okay? So this allows for a faster boot. Windows won't have to keep looking for a floppy disk here, checking if the operating system is on the floppy disk, all right? For example, if you want to make a significant change to the processor, perhaps to increase the overall number of processors, you would now have the flexibility to either decrease or indeed increase it. Wouldn't you agree? You're going to come here to audio and turn off this option here. Look, enable audio output, okay? Because it doesn't make sense for the virtual machine to have audio output for the virtual machine, right? If you leave it enabled, it won't cause any problems for the course, but disable it because it's one less feature that will be installed on your virtual machine, okay? And then you're going to click OK.